Hello, my name is Lorraine. I'm an occupational therapist, have been for over 30 years. I'm known on both Instagram and YouTube as an image enthusiast. I'm here today for a very special reason. I'm here to celebrate Occupational Therapy Month. April is Occupational Therapy Month. Well, I come to you to celebrate everything that occupational therapy is with you. I want to share with you that occupational therapy, first of all, is a very, very unique profession. We are in just about every area. We are in neonatal intensive care units, and we are all the way up to the geriatric population. So we work with infants and we work with geriatrics and pretty much everything in between. We're in hospitals, we're in school systems, we're in rehab facilities, pretty much where there's a need for therapy of some sort for the physical and the cognitive, you've got an occupational therapy waiting to help you. I want to share something really special too before I get going. That one of our supervisors at work, last week we celebrated for occupational therapy, had given all the OTs a very special gift, this really cute pouch, and it was filled with goodies. And what I like on it is what it says, because this really kind of defines it too. Occupational therapy, helping you grow your own way. How well said is that? Because with occupational therapy, we're looking for growth. We're looking for growth that makes sense to you as an individual. So we can have all kinds of ideas for your plan of care, but if it doesn't make sense to you as an individual, it doesn't become a good plan of care at all. It's pretty much a washout. We have to pay attention to what the needs of the patients are in order to help them grow and make changes. Because as an occupational therapist, and I've said this before, we're working on a balance of work, rest, and play. We're working on helping people find purposeful activities to get that balance, to be able to find purpose, to be able to find their joy. And I always talk individually as an OT and as an individual about the importance, very much the importance of having a strong mind-body connection. When you have a healthy mind, you can have a strong body. With purposeful activities, you find your balance, therefore, you find your joy. Okay, so on that note, let me share a couple of experiences with you. And why did I wait to the end of the month? Because I told you before, I wanted to share things that I've observed in the past several weeks. One of the things I observed is meeting new people, okay? You're always gonna start talking about where they're born and where they come from and so forth. Where I was born, I've moved around so many times since I've been from where I was born. I've moved around so many times over the years. So I'm pretty much meeting people that either lived where I lived or we have some kind of connection to the place where I lived or where I was born or something. So we get to talking, developing the plan of care, we're talking about the goals, but we're always so talking about personal things with professional boundaries, of course, but we're creating a personal relationship, a personal professional relationship with our patient. So this past several weeks, I had, twice it happened, I met somebody that was born in the same city I was born in. It was so cool. I couldn't believe it. He knew the street that I lived on. He knew all the school that I went to, all the different areas that we played. That was just like, that's a long time ago. And for that to happen was super cool for me. So it made it very special for me. I really had a good time with that. And he found it very kind of cool too. So then couple weeks go by, and then I go back to meet this patient to do his discharge. And I hadn't seen him in between time. I had never seen him after the time that I did the evaluation. Found out I was doing his discharge. I went in, I didn't recognize the name. I went in and I said, oh, wait a minute. Aren't you the gentleman from such and such? He said, oh my gosh, you're that therapist. Wait till I tell you something. I said, what? He said, since we talked that day, I started getting in contact with several people that I have not been in contact with for years. And it made such a difference because after our conversation of where you lived and where I lived and how you meet new people all the time, he started thinking about his own personal needs more. He made a phone call. He contacted through Facebook, which I think is fabulous. He contacted that person, and now he's going to be able to have a place to stay when he leaves and gets discharged. He's going to leave the state where he's in now and go back to where he was born, and he's going to be able to stay with this person. And by the way, that person lives on the same street that I lived on. So I just find that so crazy fun because it just doesn't happen very often for me. Specific anyway, because I'm always meeting new people. Another thing, and so I felt like purposely that I had tried to make a difference in his life with his plan of care, and it was great, the goals that we made, and I didn't see him throughout his plan of care, his treatment sessions. But when I did do his discharge and I finally talked to him again, I could find out that he did well with his goals, of course, which was wonderful, but he also had talked about the impact that our conversation had on him. And that to me kind of made it a little bit more important, because then he'll take that with him and maybe that stirs up motivation to be able to do better in whatever he's doing. I'm hoping to have made that difference in his life. I kind of think I might have, hopefully. Another thing I want to talk about is, as therapists, we are so much needing to keep an open mind and an open heart when we're doing treatments and when we're seeing other therapists, the new therapists that come on board. And I'm talking about students. Students are usually really, really good about these things. They come up with such creative ideas. They're fresh in the field, and I find them to be just new therapists. I really don't like to call them students so much, because we are all students and we all need to keep that student mind, that learning, that openness to learning and keeping fresh ideas in our field, because otherwise we become stale. We become to think that we might know it all. We'll never know it all, and we'll never try to know it all. We can only know what we are shown and what we share with others. We grow together, okay? But this particular student new therapist had some really cool ideas that I never thought about in getting patients to do the most difficult tasks, because with occupational therapy, as most of you know already, we are working on self-care. We're working on bathing, dressing, toileting, self-feeding, medication management, then the coping strategies, all that mental health component as well. But this particular student had some really creative ideas to get patients to know how to do their toileting. It was so cool. And I don't want to be graphic in the explanations, but I find that the task and the activity this patient had was so funny, and these patients were getting so much fun trying to do this activity that they really wanted to work more on their toileting skills. Something that is a very, very basic necessity, of course, as an adult, but something that you don't really want to talk about, but you need to, and you need to address it. And this student's therapist found a very good way to get that to happen. It was a card playing game, and being able to sit on the cards, different angles, working on your posture and so forth, and it made it a very, very fun approach. Then there was a really cool approach, the same particular student therapist, with learning how to do lower body dressing. A hula hoop, you might have heard it before, I've not, and if I'm the first to hear it, I'm not the first to hear it, I don't think, but I just found it to be so cool. Taking an actual hula hoop and utilizing it to reach down to the feet, to bring on over the feet, to practice lower body dressing. How cool is that? If you already know about it, good for you. I didn't. I just thought it was extremely cool. And you can utilize it on the top of the body to look about reaching above your shoulders for upper body dressing. I mean, really? Who wouldn't want to do that activity? So you can't get undressed and undressed in a group. You can't do that individually, so comfortably all the time, but you can do it with an activity like that. And then it becomes very creative, and it becomes very, very doable. So as occupational therapists, an open mind and being able to be creative is so, so very key to all of what we do. So those are things that I've experienced in the past several weeks. Another thing I want to share with you is sometimes I come across patients that don't want to do anything that has to do with occupational therapy because they feel that they know already how to dress themselves, how to feed themselves, and so forth, all the self-care. They know, they just want to walk. Well, what we do again, take our mind, we open it up. It's not that we won't help them walk, but that is not our scope of practice. So we don't say that to the patient exactly. We're very creative and very accommodating, if you will, because we have to meet them where they are. So if the patient in fact is already walking or has been assessed by physical therapy, you can get an idea as to how they are. Bring that walker in if it's doable, if it is appropriate and it's feasible, to work on the higher level of OT. So getting in that closet to reach to get the clothes, going into the dressers, bending and reaching and so forth, going in the kitchen to do anything for reaching above. Use that walker to get to the washer and dryer to practice laundry. You don't have to say you're doing all of that, you kind of indirectly. So again, the creativity, knowing how to word to present your activities to the patient, use your words correctly so they understand, and because you know they need it, but they don't have to do it, but they also don't fully understand sometimes how important it is to be able to do those activities. They just want to walk. So we often try to work at it very creatively and get the patients to do what they're doing, what they need to do to be able to reach their goals. And then I find it a great opportunity to review their plan of care with them, with their goals, and ask them, what else do you want to work on to help you improve your function? That's super, super important. When you ask them what they want, we can write up a plan of care that sounds really wonderful on paper, but it may not fly with the patient because they just may not want to work on those things. So we have to meet them where they are and make sure we're customizing their plan of care and we're meeting their needs. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, because a lot of male and female OTs out there, I want to celebrate again Occupational Therapy Month. I hope you've had a wonderful April, and I hope you have many more months of wonderful therapeutic interventions. Remember, as an occupational therapist, we are always out there to help create balance with our residents and our patients. And when we help them and meet them where they are, you combine the professional with the personal, with your own personal enthusiasm, you can get your patients to love their therapy just like you want them to, because you as a therapist are invested in their plan of care and in their health. So again, if you like what you see today, please put a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Lorraine here, image enthusiast and occupational therapist. I'll see you on YouTube and Instagram real soon. Have a great day. God bless.